Okay, good morning, all. I'm a bit sweaty because, do my workout. So we both know that the workout is done now. Really good one. You know what? I didn't even track to see how far I got on the elliptical. Dang, that was stupid. I think I did like 8 miles, I think. Oh, you know what? I don't care. Uh, so today is the beginning of a new month. I really want to push it up hard this month. But today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something completely different and off the chain. I want to do a movie review. A movie review. So I went to see Where the Crawdads Sing yesterday. Didn't know how that was going to go. It was interesting. I could not believe how full that audience was. So I guess a lot of people, maybe they were fans of the book or something. It was pretty full. I was surprised because first, I normally try to time myself to arrive 20 minutes after the start of the movie because, they have all the reviews and stuff. Movie was well into it at 20 minutes. So that kind of threw me for a shock. But I don't think I missed that much. I don't think, because I just looked at the timing from when I got in, how long the movie was, when it ended. It's like, yeah, I didn't miss much. It must start like a minute or two before I walked in. So anyway, it was actually an interesting movie. So I'm going to just start giving my takes on it. Remember, they're going to be spoilers. So be prepared for that. Click off so called if you don't want to hear any spoilers. So, it starts off with the little girl, her abusive father, mom leaves, the big brother leaves, two big sisters leave, the boy who was just slightly older than her leaves, leaving her alone with the dad. Uh, for whatever reason, he really stopped drinking at that point. Then at some point, he gets a letter from his wife that throws him off the chain. So then he leaves, never to be seen again throughout the movie. She then is just like living on her own out in the swamps, or they called it there the marshes. Took a while to figure out where it was at. I assumed because of the marshes and everything, it was like Louisiana. Turns out it was North Carolina. So there is this one scene where she tries to go to school, and the kids are making fun of her because saying she stinks and everything, calling her marsh girl. She didn't have any shoes or anything. It was kind of sad. Now, the bright part that was really interesting through the movie is her surrogate, or were her surrogate parents, this black family. I'm assuming from what I saw, because I did not see any children, that they did not have children. And it was surprising that other than one scene, there were no racial overtones throughout the entire movie. That just blew me away. North Carolina, the thing started in the 50s, and there were no racial overtones other than one point where this white guy called the dude who's named Jumpin' Boy. Other than that, everything was cool. He owned like a general store on the dock where people pull up their boats and get gas and everything. So she made her living by digging up mussels and selling them to Jumpin' for a little bit of money, food, and gas for her boat because she got around on a boat and everything. So she meets this kid, Tate, and they kind of grow, and they get a little bit older. They I don't know. He falls in love with her. She falls in love with him. He goes off to North University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and anyway, he was supposed to come meet her 4th of July. He never came back, and it like broke her heart. Then she meets this total. I mean, at first I was surprised because he she meets this dude named Chase. So one of the things in the movie is that Chase was murdered, and she was put on trial for the murder. So this is like interweaved throughout the movie. Anyway, at one point where they're like on a beach or whatever, Chase seemed like some kind of rich boy or something. His family owned a store, ended up becoming the manager at Western Auto. So it was interesting to see all these stores there from my childhood that I don't even know exist anymore. Piggly Wiggly, uh, Western Auto. I remember the Western Auto was on 19th Street. Yeah. Yeah, I remember the Western Auto. So anyway, uh, he tried to, take her clothes off and have sex with her, and she kind of like pushes off. And I was surprised. I thought this dude was going to, go all in, but no, he didn't. So I was like, oh, okay, he's an okay dude. And throughout it, he seemed to be okay, even after he was like kind of half making fun of her with his friends. You know how dudes can be on the dock, and when Tate comes by and gets mad. And at one point, I thought Tate was the murderer because one of the pieces of evidence was red fibers on his on Chase's clothes. Well, Tate was wearing a red hat, and they tussled. And later, Tate gave the hat to her. So I was like, okay, so Tate's the murderer. I mean, for the rest of the movie, I thought he was the murderer. So she gets to a point where she had found like these guys taking pictures of her house and everything. And she goes into town, and it's like, well, your great grandfather bought this house back in, or all this land back in the 1800s, but there's $800 in back taxes. So she tries to figure out how she's going to get $800. So she takes a list that Tate had given her before he left for college of publishers, and she sends her drawings out to one of these publishers. Back a little bit back, Tate taught her how to read. She didn't know how to read or write or anything. He taught her, and she became very learned in going through, like all of the creatures of the swamps and stuff, or marshes. So, anywho, long story, she becomes a famous author, whatever. And one of the big pieces of evidence is she gave Chase a necklace made out of a shell that they found that first day on the beach. Well, it was missing. And so they're like, we're going to, only person who would have taken this would have been you, blah, blah, blah. They couldn't find it. They were trying to come up with every little piece of BS evidence, talking about how, because she was in Greenville and she had, or Asheville, whatever. She comes, they're saying like she took a midnight bus. Nobody saw her. She could come back just to murder him and get back in time for breakfast, But anyway, she gets acquitted. And at some points, I'm figuring that Chase was going to jump up and go, I'm the murderer, which never happens. Another thing is her brother shows up, the one who was just right, older than her. So the little brother, Jody, dude was in the Army. I was like really proud. He was wearing a blue Agulette and a CIB. So based on the timing, he fought in Vietnam. So I'm trying to figure out how this kid, because he couldn't have been more than 12 years old when he ran away. So he was able to make it to the Army, fight in Vietnam, make it back home. So that was really interesting. And throughout the entire movie, because the biggest parts happened in 1968, 69, nobody talked about the war. So like there was no talk about the race, no talk about the war. So that was interesting as heck. So anyway, breaking on down, she finally falls back in love with Tate. They get married, and it kind of falls from as they, it's like one of those like in the movie Up where they go from young to old, and then she dies. He finds her like in the boat that seems like to be the same boat from the 50s. So anyway, he's packing up her stuff to go to the university for their archives because, like I said, she had become a famous author. And he's going through one of her things, and you know what he finds? That necklace. She was the murderer the entire time. So she got away with murder for all those decades. But yeah, it was a good movie. I found it interesting. And that's my take on it. Honestly, I would go see it. I mean, it's not action. I usually like action movies and horror movies. I'm not the guy, I've never seen The Notebook or anything like that. I'm not into gushy crap. I'm not gonna lie, my eye teared up a little bit. My eyes teared up a little bit. So that's it. I would recommend this movie. I'm not to the point where I give star ratings or anything. Go see Where the Crawdads Sing. It was a good movie. That's about it from me. you know that all this crap's unedited because you can hear dog barking and everything. Uh, enjoy it. This is something new. You know, if I see a movie that's interesting, I'll come and talk to you about it. Maybe next time I'll talk about Nope. That's the last one I saw before this one. Anyway, I'm out of here.